Gaff, 15 games to go. We start this weekend with West Brom, but let's touch first on what's probably been a frustrating January transfer window for you and the lads.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I will say that I think myself and the club are always honest with the fans, and I always have been. I said it's not an easy situation for us. Ever more so at this level. This level, it's not just the alignment of players, it's whether the other club, want to release their players. And it often comes down to the numbers, of course. Now, we've increased our numbers, we all know that, financial numbers, that is. But it's still tough out there. We can't... It's hard for the club, it's hard for the board, it's hard to write off large chunks of money, when the club going forward might not be able to deal with that. So it has to be measured, it has to be balanced, and that does make it tough. The market... There's kind of these mythical stories out there. Unfortunately, we know that the media scrutiny at this level goes into every walk of it, every part of what we do. I can assure you, and I can assure the fans, I've been personally into Europe over the last few weeks, and I will say, I put my renowned outfit on, I put my ginger wig on and ginger beard so no one would recognise me, and it worked a treat. I got tweeted, I think tweeted that I was in an airport, that was it. So it actually worked. But I've been out there personally looking. The staff have been out there, the scouts have been out there. Despite a story of this letter to agents saying, is there any, players available? We all know the moves and the shakes in the market. That was to prompt any last minute moves. So A goes to B, goes to C, and D has to come out. So it was like, what happens then? Who knows about it? Well, let us know in case it's someone we'd be interested in. So that's cleared that one up. The other side of it, we were active. There was a couple of deals that it wasn't necessarily numbers. It was the fact that players, not even the players, sorry, the clubs actually went, no, that deal's off. So that can happen. It's just part of what it is. But I will remind everyone, we've got a fantastic group of people here, and they're 17th in the Premier League. We as a club are 17th in the highest level of world football, allegedly. So let's not forget where we are, what we're doing and what's got us there. Let's remember the pride that we've all jointly taken in how we've done it, how we go about our business and what this club stands for. So before everyone gets a bit weird about it, let's not forget what this club is built on, the base it's built on, the fundamental base, the good feeling about what Burnley Football Club's doing, by the way, from the masses. I'm out there and loads of people speak to me. Fantastic what Burnley Football Club's achieving and the manner that they're achieving it in. The support of the fans, away fans, renowned. Loads of people saying to me, your away fans, amazing. Coming to Turf, Premier League football at Turf Moor. So before we get carried away with all this, let's remember where the club is, what we've built, what we're achieving, and not forgetting, we are still striving for more. It's quite obvious the way the team are operating. They want more, we want more. So before anyone gets into this weird mindset of negativity, let's remember all the positives and the positive journey, and the people who have been key in that. And that is not just the players, it's the fans as well. So let's make sure we remind ourselves of the bigger picture, not this little slither. We want to operate in the market, we've made it clear. We couldn't, we'll look to do it again. But let's not forget what's got us there, and that is a group of fantastic players giving everything to this football club. And let's remember what we are as well. This is a fantastically deep, rich football club with its history. And we've done somewhat of making history and reinventing history moving forwards. Let's protect that, let's safeguard it, and let's keep working hard with that one club mentality. Because it's vital at a club like this, and it's vital in what we want to achieve this year. So we mustn't lose sight of that.
It's understandable the fans have got Premier League football, they want to retain Premier League football. I think that one of the arguments to the fans is that the deals seem to be last minute. They weren't done earlier in the month, whether that's the two deals that you had on the table.
It's quite simply, it's a fair one. It's a fair question as well. It is quite simply, when are them players available? There's no point in going for a player when the manager says he's not available. Trust me, when a manager says he's not available, or the club say he's not available, he's not available. And then you are playing the numbers game. So if that manager says to me, because I try and do business respectfully on behalf of myself and the football club. So we'd make an agent aware, let's say, and if there's an awareness of that, I go straight to the manager. Maybe it's old-fashioned nowadays, but that's what I think is the right manner of doing our business. If the manager says that is not happening and the club say that is not happening, the only way to make that happen is numbers. And guess what? We're not talking about adding 100 grand, remember. We're talking about adding millions of pounds to try and get that deal through because the club have said we're not selling. So similar to when people come for us, we say we're not selling, and I've made it clear, if you want any of our players, it's going to have to be absolutely mad numbers. So, you know, there's that kind of thinking and that kind of feel, and that's the same for everyone, my point is. So they're looking, going, no, our players are not available. Now, what usually happens, one move starts the wheels turning, and that can lead to an opening or a situation where a player does come available. It could be a change of manager, a change of thinking, a change of form. It can be a player coming into a club which releases a player out the club. All of them things. And sometimes it is just brutal money. Here's the money, we're willing to pay it, we want that player, and the club say, well, eventually, yeah, okay. But like I say, we've got to remember what we are and where we are. You know, that's a key thing about it. But be proud of it. You know, people get in this weird world of negative. What for? There's no negatives. Burnley Football Club in the Premier League, we've done it as a joint thinking process. Players, board, staff members, including not just the football staff, the staff who work around, and the fans. So we've got to remember that. You know, behind all these challenges, we have to remember that is one of our USPs, an aligned club all pulling in the right direction. It is a powerful thing, and it needs to be protected because it will be there going forwards.
Last one from the fans, which was another gripe of theirs, shall we say, on social media, that you have a full month to get these deals done, but it's the last minute.
Let's stop and start with a gripe on social media. Right, I meet a lot of our fans. It's well documented. I live part-time up here. I don't live all the time, but I meet a lot of our fans. I don't get many gripes, I've got to be honest. So
they look at you and they don't gripe.
Well, possibly. But it's fair to say that there's a lot of fans out there who don't do social media, who are thrilled with what the club's done over the last couple of years and looking forward to every week. No matter what the challenge is, they are looking forward to it. Let's start with that. So beyond that, all the social media questions, yet again, they're not there to protect. Let's face it, most people who get on social media are often, not always, there to niggle and gripe and get on things. When was the last time you went to a restaurant, you had a great meal, and you got home and emailed back to the restaurant and said, by the way, that was fantastic, but I bet you if it weren't good, I bet you email back in then. So it's a strange mindset. So let's not forget the people who are out there who are actually going, do you know what? This football club is fantastic. I love it. I support it through thick and thin. And at the moment, it's pretty thick. We've got a fair wedge of the market for Burnley Football Club.
So we move forward. We've got what we've got. We've got 15 games to go, and we're not in the bottom three. There's the big positive as we move forward now.
Well, we're 17th, you know, so after 10 games, when people were questioning us, and by the way, after 10 games, when we hadn't won a game, our fans were amazing. Let's not forget that. So after 10 games, we hadn't won a game, but our fans were amazing, sticking by the team. So now we're 17th, so how is there suddenly some question marks? You know, they're the key markers. We've got to remember all of that. And I think people will, by the way. So I must make it clear, with this interview, I'm just giving my gut feel. They know I'm honest with them. They know I always tell the truth here. And it's important they remember that because we're giving honesty. We're not hiding behind it. We're saying this is tough. The market's tough. We have tried and we have tried. But there has to be a trying level within reasonable doubt because if not, club will be in big, big trouble in a very, very short future. It would fall into real trouble financially. That's the challenge and it's a tough one.
When did you finally kind of give up, if you will, on deadline day?
Well, I left this building we're in now 1:45, which it had come and gone by then, but there's a little window from 11. If you have the process in place, you can carry it on for a little period. But after that, sort of 11 o'clock, it's more or less done then. So we chatted about a few things that we can possibly activate in the future. But it must be said, it usually comes down to brutal force, and that is money. And that's something that we have, I always say, big in Burnley world, but not big in the Premier League. Not even big in some of the Championship clubs. Look at some of the Championship clubs. 50 million in debt, 100 million in debt. Even you look at Bournemouth, who get, 10 to 12,000 people, doing fantastically well, I must make that clear. But £14 million loss last year and allegedly bidding for a player for £5 million. Well, where does that loss go then? That goes to someone putting their hand in their pocket. Our board are all Burnley people and they're wealthy in our lives, but they're not wealthy in Premier League lives. They're not wealthy in some of these owners who are writing off hundreds of millions of pounds over a 5-year period. So all of that has to be factored in. There has to be a reality to it. This club's in great shape, it's stable, we've got people who give everything towards the cause. We want to add to that, of course. We want the demand to rise in the players, and often that means bringing people in. It hasn't happened. We get over it, we move forward, because that's the way we operate and that's the way we work here.
And this weekend we've got a big chance to show unity and get right behind everybody and get what would be a massive 3 points.
It's a given.
In a big game.
I think it's a given now. I really do. You know, I've come to know the Burnley people and I think it's a given. I'll be amazed if that doesn't happen. And if it doesn't, I make it clear. People have the right to say what they want to say and have the right to vent or do whatever they want to do. In my experience, certainly over the last year and a half to where we are now, there's been so much positivity. I've got a feeling that Burnley people get over their disappointment quickly, realise what we are, where we are, what we're doing, what we're achieving, and get right behind it. I'll be amazed if that doesn't happen. If it doesn't, I'll hold my hands up. But I've come to value the people here, and I think they'll get over their disappointment, get their heads together. And do you know what? Let's not forget what we are. Let's not forget what we're achieving. Let's not forget the history of this great club, because it hasn't always been swimming. It hasn't always been happy days, and it hasn't always been let's throw money at everything. Let's face it, it's not really the Burnley way. You know, I live here part-time. I'm getting used to the culture here. I was once told about Burnley folk, which always makes me laugh, if you gave someone a fiver, they'd say, why not a tenner? It always tickles me, that. It's something that I always carry with me. Now I often say that to Burnley people. I class myself as being Burnley-fied, so I'm getting a bit like that.
Gaffer, we wish you well for us this evening. Thank you.
Cheers.